Glam squad.
A glam.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. I am Nadir, one of the co-founders of OutstandingPersonalRelationships.com.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. I'm Coach Fatima with Outstanding Personal Relationships, and I'm his wife.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Nyla, Coach Nyla. I am also a wife. So, yes, we are co-wives.
Yes.
And, of course, OutstandingPersonalRelationships.com. Welcome to our live.
Indeed. Well, today we have a topic. First of all, just going to let you know, I might be sniffling. I might have to get up and move. I don't know. My nose and stuff has just been tripping on me. So pardon me if I did. If I don't, alhamdulillah. Well, today, though, we're going to want to talk about men and polygyny, just in general, because we came across some information yesterday that was pretty interesting. You want to talk about that? Share that information? Basically, I came across some info that said there was like a guide or something that was dealing with how to keep your Muslim man monogamous.
Crack me up.
So with that being said, we found it to be very, very interesting. So we wanted to make sure we addressed just the topic of men in general, polygyny more specifically, and, you know, even monogamy, if you will. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Men, polygyny, monogamy, what have you. Can you actually keep your Muslim man monogamous? Is that it? You know what I'm saying? So what say y'all?
I honestly did not know this was a thing. Like, I was really caught off guard. I was like, this can't be real. It can't be, because what's beautiful about being Muslim is that we have friends that are Muslim and they're married to men that are Muslim. And we've had many conversations about Muslim men in particular, and we didn't get permission to have those conversations. And we know for a fact that our men are Allah's creation, and he does with them what he wills, and he knows what he created. So when he says that he created men to want more than one woman, I don't try to diminish that in any way. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. It's incredible to me.
Men are polygamous by nature. Here's the deal. The thing is,
to be more direct.
To be direct, you know, they're polygamous by nature. Not that all men are going to seek out polygyny or anything like that, because polygyny is not for everybody. And this kind of, like, seriously, real talk, this hit me tough. Like, I actually was upset behind it. And I'm just being, you guys know, we're going to be candid. We're going to be real. I'm a human being. I was in my feels when I saw it, because here's the thing. If anybody have watched us enough, you guys know that we are pro-polygyny. Of course, we're in polygyny. We don't advocate it for everybody, because it's not for everybody.
Right.
However,
we acknowledge that.
Right. However, it's a form of marriage. It's actually a lawful form of marriage. Just because some people want to not make it legal or whatever the case may be, it's lawful. When you're in a monogamous marriage and you go in front of however you do it, in front of the justice peace or whoever, they say you're lawfully wedded husband, lawfully wedded wife, and everything like that. Yeah, polygyny is lawful, because they say this is the whole thing under God, under the Most High, under Allah. Right. So to diminish another form of lawful marriage it's like a direct hit. It's like a disrespect, if you will.
You're challenging.
To challenge the creator, to challenge the creator who stated that this is permissible. I allowed this. For you to say, well, I know better, so let me show you how to make sure that you will not fall victim to polygyny.
Right.
You know that.
You know, one of the interesting things, even not even coming from necessarily a religious perspective or what have you, is that men are not like women. So the first thing I thought about was, okay, so basically gonna be castrated. All right, so physically or emotionally manipulated or something like that, or otherwise, because I'm a man. I've always been a man. Well, I've always been a man. I was a boy and grew up and suddenly a man. And what I mean is, when I talk with men, and I'm talking to people, when we talk about certain conversations, they may hear me say wives sometimes. Like, wives? You know, you're married and then you're divorced and then you're married. No, I have a couple of wives. You know, sometimes it gets them off track, but they're so intrigued. They're like, talk to me more about what do you mean? You're married to more than one woman, right? Because they're men, all right? And men are not like the women. We're built different, period. Okay, so it's pretty simple and easy to see what a real man's going to desire. You're going to desire women. I mean, it's natural. Now, the way you go about fulfilling that natural desire is either going to be moral or it's going to be immoral. Okay, so this is simple, basic biology makeup. Now, there are those rare cases where a man may just only prefer one woman. Now, that doesn't mean you prefer more than one woman because there's some type of dysfunction or something she's not satisfying or there's some type of loss.
Just
because
deficit or something.
Exactly. You know, because if your idea is to, well, I'm going to be so much of a woman, I'm going to be his 4 eyes and all this. Listen, that's not what it's talking about. That's not how we made. It's not it. You know what I'm saying? We're just men. I haven't seen any creation better than a woman, period. No matter what. It is what it is. You know, so I'm, you know, just being real. But I didn't, Coach Fast and I've been married 24 years now. Okay. I didn't marry Coach Nyla after 15 years of our marriage because she was defunct and missing in something.
Honey, I'm not impaired in any way.
So, but women will take that space. She might have taken that initially thinking that, oh, well, maybe there's something with me, right? Because that's something natural. That's how women, you know, are in society. They normally emotionally
what's wrong?
think
Are you
that.
sick?
Right.
Is something wrong? Are you
Right.
dying? I'm like, why gotta be dying?
Because people look at it like that.
Yeah,
They need some type of comfort or some type of reason to feel good within themselves. So when you ask a man that's practicing polygyny, and many women do it, they, you know, well, what's the reason you do it? First of all, there's no across the board reason. It's just that we're different. All right. And it's not something that women are going to understand, just like we're not going to understand menstrual cramps. We're not going to understand childbirth. You could describe it. You could put tools on us and all that, but
And wanted to have more kids after going through that stuff.
Yeah. That's when, if you're a man, you experience childbirth, that's one of the happiest moments that you ever recognize. You're grateful for being a man. Seriously. And how they go through it again must be love. It must be the reason they get those blessings because that's really a whole nother level.
And that's true because women was like, how do we keep doing it? And I was like, Grandma, how do I have this baby? What's going to happen before I have it? She said, when you think you're going to die, the baby will come out. And she wasn't lying. But with that, women do it over and over because we know we're bringing forth life. And that's why it's so powerful, so important. That's how we push our babies forth. Now, we can explain it all day and put the labor simulator on them all day.
That don't mean they don't understand.
You're not gonna never understand. Okay.
So with that being said, when it comes to polygyny, women aren't going to understand it. You may try to reason it, like what some women do is say, oh, well, if she is a widow, or, you know, she's a struggling single mother.
Or older.
Or if she's older and barren and never been married before. So they come with many different types of excuses that really make them feel good. And I can understand why they do it. You know, psychologically, you want to have some reason to justify, but you don't need a reason to justify. I mean, that's not necessary. It is what it really is. So, I mean, we can go into all the science. We can go into how it makes much more sense. We can go in. One of the things we talked about before is like when women say, well, can I have more than one husband?
Oh,
this knee-jerk response.
Understand that because who wants that? Who really wants to?
No, like if you really thought about
tell the truth.
Please tell the truth. I'm going to tell you this, and no, again, we're going to talk about no. We are not lesbian, but I said I would rather have multiple wives than multiple husbands because my gosh, we're just gonna say that.
Yeah. No shade to the men, but
no shade to the men, but you know, men are, you know, they're a different breed. Like we are a different breed because I don't know men. We can probably say, you know what? I don't know about this polygyny thing because sometimes it could be a little struggle dealing with, you know, our personalities and everything like that. However, you know, we won't understand that. We would never understand that as women.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at it basically from a primal level, when women say something like, "Oh, I have more than one husband," you forgetting all the responsibilities that go along with it. You're only thinking about something sexual. Yeah. So, you know, so now you diminish your marriage to begin with if you think it's just a sexual thing. You don't need to be married to have sex.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on.
You should be.
You know, morally speaking, but yeah, you don't need to be. We know this looking at society. Okay. And most marriages are going to fail anyway. All right. So they just skip the whole marriage thing. We'll be friends or buddies or whatever other term used for friends and benefits that go along with it. So marriage, one, is something that's moral. All right. And men, again, are not like the women. So their whole shows that build a premise on the immorality of society. And something like women having more than one husband, for example, kind of proves that. So you're on Maury now talking about, you're not the daddy. You know what I mean? That's just a simple thing. But now you're not thinking about the other responsibilities go along with that. Like, okay, do you really want to cook for multiple husbands?
Do you really?
Or is the husband supposed to be the one cooking for you?
Oh, because
one female.
now you changed the
whole dynamic switch. That's not. But anyway, that's kind of off the conversation. But the thing is, we try to justify things. People try to justify. Like, I'll give you an example. We're Muslims, so we practice Islam. So one of the things that come across it's not even really misunderstood. It can be misunderstood. I can't say that, but it's clear. It should not be misunderstood. There is a justification for when someone says when they don't want to practice polygyny. They say, "Oh yeah, remember the time when Ali radiallahu anhu came to the Prophet sallallahu, and he was married to Fatima at the time radiallahu anha, and he wanted to marry another wife, and the Prophet sallallahu had came and talked to him, and he said, what hurts my daughter hurts me and stuff like that, and so he didn't allow polygyny with Fatima. That's what they give. So far as, okay, well, so if a woman is going to be hurt by it, then, well, look at Prophet Solomon's daughter Fatima. So this justified not want to get involved in polygyny. The challenge is this. You're not looking at the entire hadith to begin with, or the shorter of the hadith, because what occurred in reality was that Ali wanted to get married again. Polygyny is norm society, and this is relatively simple. Now, Prophet ﷺ came to him. The very first thing the Prophet ﷺ said was, "I'm not telling you that you cannot practice polygyny." This is the Prophet of Allah Ta'ala. Okay, right. He said, but he goes into stating that it is not befitting for someone who is married to the daughter of a prophet to marry the daughter of basically the arch enemy of the Prophet ﷺ. So what was not appropriate was not polygyny. That wasn't the issue. The issue was who the sister was that he was bringing to the table to potentially marry. Okay, so it wasn't that she would be hurt. Yes, she would be hurt. The Prophet ﷺ, what hurts her hurts me. Yes, this is true. But that was not the reason for not getting involved with polygyny. The reason was the woman wasn't right because of who her father was. And it's inappropriate for somebody to be married to such a noble sister as someone who perfected her iman, as one of the 4 women who ever did it in their entire life, the daughter of Khadijah radiallahu anha and the Prophet ﷺ, to be married to somebody who was the enemy. Okay, really, really simple. This is well known. This isn't new, but the challenge is we don't know our deen, and we try to use it as justification. So you have to tell the whole story surrounding it, which is very important. Other words, that's saying something about our humanity. We don't want to get into the twisting this. That came from us before Islam. You can do whatever you want to do in Christianity. You just pray or believe, and then, you're good. You're saved. That's not like that in Islam. You know what I'm saying? We hear and we obey. So, and again, most people are not going to practice polygyny anyway. So you know what? All you do is stay married. That's how you can help prevent your husband from practicing polygyny. Just stay married. You know what I'm saying? Most marriages are going to fail, so you already got a 50% chance. Out of 50% chance, they say statistically speaking, 10% or less even marry more than one wife. You know what I'm saying? So you already have over 90% chance of just being in a monogamous marriage if it's successful anyway.
That's the part. Yeah. It's like focus on being a better you, focus on improving on your marriage, not for the sake of being manipulative, of not allowing him or him wanting to practice polygyny, just for the simple fact that you want a great marriage, that you want to improve your marriage, that you want your marriage to be outstanding. That's how you do it. Just focus on that.
100% true.
I agree with that.
I mean, it's not much more to say besides that, other than
it's really basic. But
I understand marketing and business and stuff as well. So as a business tactic, we could speak to people's fears and tell them how this is going to happen. But the reality is like, come on, really? But if you are married to the type of man that you can just lead on a leash and say what to do and what not to do and snap your fingers and everything else, then maybe you will probably be able to control that individual. I'm not the type of dude. And brothers who are leaders and imams of their family usually are not. All right. That doesn't mean we don't take counsel with our wives, or they have they're wiser in certain circumstances, situations than we are. That's what makes you better as a family unit. That's what helps you build a nation versus destroying it. Okay, that's somebody that's working on self-confidence and moving and leading in a certain direction. If you want to get somebody that might be more passive or feminine or something like that, they not trying to. That's not attractive. I don't think that's really attractive to women, is it?
That's not attractive. I always make this joke, but this is facts. I was born in the 70s, but I was a high school girl in the 90s. And I will tell you this, to have a man that's a marionette, I remember Dr. Khalid Muhammad spoke about this. He said a woman wants, and I don't agree with everything that he has stated in his life, but I do agree with this. A woman wants in a man a soldier. So when she looks at her husband, she wants a soldier. I don't want somebody that's a marionette and I'm pulling the strings, because that's doing too much. I don't have time for that. Because one thing I am is a wife, but I tell you another thing that is powerful that I am is a mother. And I don't have time to raise somebody that's already been raised.
I'm gonna tell you what.
I'm not gonna do it.
Being a woman,
Get us started.
being a woman, and there's power in that where you don't have to be manipulative. It's like,
Right.
Men, strong
We
men,
have time for that.
strong men love strong women. And being a strong woman do not mean a person that is trying to be masculine or anything like that, or emasculate the man, or try to be, I'm going to tell you what to do and you're going to listen to me, or I make the money and so you're going to do what I say. Because if you don't do what I say, I'm going to leave you and I'm going to take the kids. That type of stuff right there, it causes more drama. And if a person is staying with you because they're manipulated, because you're being manipulative, they're not staying with you because they love you. They're not staying with you because it's a great relationship. So is that the type of relationship that you want? Is that the type of marriage that you want? Somebody that's there because they feel like they're there because of obligation, or because they want to be there? Do you want them to feel like they have to be there? They need to be there.
They're tolerated,
or because they want to be.
Got time.
I mean, that's simple as that.
Indeed, that's pretty unhealthy. Matter of fact, that goes into the original definition of monogamy. See, polygyny is not anything new. Polygyny is pretty ancient. Islam did not bring polygyny. Okay, Islam was actually the only scripture that limited polygyny. It limited it up to marrying 4 wives at one time. So Islam came, put the rules and regulations in place to make it fair and to make it just. All right, and this initial is when Allah Ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa to marry 2 or 3 or 4. But if you fear you will do injustice, then just 1.
The exception.
Relatively simple, right? That's the exception. The general rule starts with at least 2. And now we see, mathematically wise and everything else. But to think really otherwise is really weird. And the reason I say it is because when I talk about being a man, I'm talking about being more than twice the man. I'm talking about the challenges that women have. We have daughters. So one of my biggest parenting challenges right now is finding a suitable husband that's righteous, that's a leader, that has these qualities for our daughters. So it's like, I can't look at my community and be like, okay, yeah, this brother here, they look like he's pretty good, come from a decent family, and he's doing all right. I don't have it in my local community.
That's right.
Period. Okay. So, and I'm reaching out and I'm networking and stuff like that. One of my daughters is like, yo, I'm thinking about getting, be ready married next year, Dad. So Wally, get to work. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? So if that's not easy, how does that reflect on the rest of society just in general? So when you're doing, especially when you're talking about doing and being moral with something in a society that is toxic, in a society that pushes gay marriage and champions that. But when you say polygyny, oh my gosh. Wait a minute now. Hold up.
That's the P word.
Children knowing their fathers? Or if you don't know your gender, now you don't know if you're male to female or whatever, saying you're trans this or trans that. I'm living in a society that for that's cool with them. That's not going to really at least rock with us where we are. So, it's weird to see these different things. But again, Islam started as something strange and it's going to return to something strange. So, yeah, that's I don't really have much more.
I don't either. It's a basic ththing to me, personally. I think about the math of that. I think about the anatomy of the men and the women and how many pregnancies can we have and things of that nature. And
Well,
I don't
it's just a
get why people don't
community
get that.
and family dynamic, and it's just so much. I mean, we can continue, we can go on and on and on about it. And I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and we were talking about polygyny and it being a form of marriage, being a form of marriage. But we were talking about wanting for your sister what you want for yourself. Wanting beauty, wanting love, wanting happiness, wanting peace, wanting companionship, these different things, and how women outnumber men, period. We already know that that's the deal. This is not something brand new. The infant mortality rate is, we know that women outnumber men, and we're talking about just men or males in general. We're not even talking about qualified.
I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Hold that point.
Okay.
Because
that's a good point.
Just for those who don't know, like statistically speaking, and how wise this polygyny is, and a solution for communities. She's talking about one, the infant mortality rate for boys at birth is worse than it is for girls. So women outnumber men, girls outnumber boys to begin with. But as they grow, we're talking about if, for example, if we say every man in New York is married to every available woman in New York, then that means you would leave almost 2 million people, 2 million women unmarried. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
But the reality of the matter is that, okay, we're not taking into account homosexuality. We're talking about 1 in 9 men are homosexuals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're not talking about mass incarceration, which affects our community disproportionately.
Absolutely.
With the war on Black people. They don't even know that, many don't know that a war is being waged against us to begin with. So now you're dealing with people that are locked up. And then you got to look at those who are not abusive, that aren't abusing alcohol, other drugs, or even marriageable. So they're not
mental illness.
They're attractive in being a man and so on. So now this whole pool of men whittles down, let alone already being in the minority of number when it comes to women. I think like Houston, they're like one man for every 3 women and stuff like that. We're just looking across the country, different spots. Women just generally outnumber men. However, a marriageable man, a man that actually got his stuff together, and a woman actually would want to marry, and that's not gay, doesn't have other stuff that's going to be causing problems, not marriageable, makes the pool that much bigger. So scientifically speaking, it's like, duh. Anyway, continue for that. For those who didn't know.
Who didn't know. No, that's good. And okay, that was the thing, wanting for you. So we were talking about, my daughter and I, we were talking about, okay, so every man, marriageable man, marries one woman. And then it leaves all these other women that don't have a companion, that if they want to have kids, they can't have children. Or if they do, there's some illegitimate child or children or whatever that don't know the other part of the family, that's cast off to the side. The community and the dynamic and as a whole is destroyed, it's devastated, and it continues. It's a perpetual cycle that demonizes and destroys, and it's just a mess. I mean, I'm very passionate about it because I see the bigger picture of it. I talk about the bigger picture of it. So for it to be looked at as something that's a wrong thing to do, or that, you're a victim if you're involved in polygyny. I mean, how many times we probably were like cuckoo in the head, or we're low self-esteem because we have one husband and this and that, or, we share a man, we share a husband. It is very demeaning, degrading, and demonizing to disrespect something that has so much wisdom behind it.
Right. That a law put forth.
Yeah.
Now, a couple comments. Mary Zaljito Abdullah Khalid. I didn't even know such a thing. They had such a thing. Come on, book, I'm assuming. She said, I'm not impaired anyway, Coach Fat.
Oh, I know I said that. I know that came from me.
And Jamal Riley, I don't know if pronounce saxophone is Jamal Riley. I think that's what it says from here. That's what sold me on polygyny. Women outnumber men greatly.
Yes.
And Harun Idris, I believe, salams in polygyny, oriented, and likes the show. Thank you, sir. Make sure y'all subscribe, share all of that kind of stuff that they say. And then he also says, I have a daughter, and they always say that all the good men are taken. Polygyny gives my daughter access to a proven good husband and father
So true.
instead of gambling on some show in the public arena.
So the joke.
Well, our daughter even said, our youngest daughter, she was saying he's got to have 4 wives because I don't want him around all the time, and I can share, and that works for my life. And for her to be 17 and see the wisdom in that, but when we get people that are 30, 40s and going, well, I don't get it, and you can stop him with this book. It's incredible. And I think it's funny. I think it's funny. So my thing is do your worst, because we're polygynous families are here to stay. We're not going anywhere. I said it a billion times. Whether this camera is on, this mic, all this equipment, this YouTube is running, we're going to practice polygyny. And like my grandma said, you can stand on your head if you don't like it. And we're going to be there. And everybody's going to do it. I'm telling you.
I think I was talking about monogamy and I got off the subject. Monogamy's been practiced for quite a while.
Oh my God.
But the reason it's become really more of a norm, we talk about the whole Greco-Roman history of monogamy, is that it was instituted in order to make things better for men.
Yes.
And I was like, what are you talking about? To make things better for men. This is why. Since polygamy in general, but polygyny was the norm, then the man is responsible for his pleasures. Meaning any children that came forth, he had to take care of those children, he had to claim those children, everything else. See, but with monogamy, all right, initially instituted and even to this day, and I'll talk about that in a second, it means you can have as many women, girlfriends, mistresses, none of this stuff is illegal.
Whatever.
All right, side pieces, jump downs, boyfriends, tranny friends, whatever you want to call them, right? You can have as many of those as you want, but none of those are the legal wife.
Right.
Legal wife, this is the only one. Anything comes from that, any children, anything, that's who you have to be responsible for. Anything else is trash.
Right.
All right, which goes to the core of what the problem in society is. So that's what monogamy generally is. Now, what I mean is that, guess what? That's exactly what it is. That's what's been demonstrated in my family, okay, with my relatives. So, uncles, all of them that I know, with the exception of very few that I don't know, but kind of suspect maybe, most likely, they had their side pieces or had somebody else, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or my father had, you know what I'm saying? We go on and on down the list, right? I had one great uncle tell me, and I was like, nah, practice polygyny and this and that. I'm married to her. He was like, boy, you don't marry him. I mean, you might play around a little bit, but you ain't supposed to be marrying him. Really? Yes. Really, that's what it is with you. That's you. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? So my grandfather, I heard, had 3. I heard he had 3 wives. All right. They don't want to talk about the other people in the family now. So that means that there are people that I'm related to that I have no idea I'm related to. You know what I'm saying? At all whatsoever. Uncles on, that causes all kind of drama when they put this other stigma, they try to ostracize you. And it's worse with Muslims because in the Muslim community, this is something that's regulated. This is something clearly in Quran that is extremely wise. And it's a shame when you see non-Muslims see the value in it. And you as a Muslim should be already demonstrating and knowing much better because the way it's regulated, because the justice that comes from it. Just because you may not understand the wisdom behind it, or you choose not to understand the wisdom behind it. We talked about it just from science and numerically speaking. Just because you may not understand the wisdom behind something doesn't mean there's not wisdom behind something. Allah Ta'ala is al-Hakim. Okay, we not. So, with that being said, I didn't want to go off on a tangent.
Well, I want to add something too. Our audience right now, and you have been looking at 3 grown people that are products of being children outside of wedlock. And we know what that does to children.
Indeed.
When our parents were getting us, they weren't married. So not to my knowledge, and mine never were. So we know what it does when there's no structure.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not speaking of from a place of ignorance or looking at stats or just looking at science. We've lived through it.
Or theory or anything
or
like
theory.
That. Right.
Or so my parents broke up when I was 3. They were done with each other forever. And my father has passed on. But I see through that lens the importance of polygyny and how it helps children be more structured than traditional marriage does. And just because we are in a place that has a corrupt government, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. That has a corrupt government, and there are many places on this earth that don't recognize polygyny as being something that is legal, but to Allah Ta'ala it is lawful. It's legal and lawful to him. So we need to really be careful what we say and how we mislead the people with different writings that we create or that they create. And where's the sin going to lay? Where's the sin going to be? Is it going to come right back round to you? Because you're misleading the people away from something that Allah, the one that made the heavens and the earth and everything in between it, gave us as legal and lawful. Because you're in a corrupt place that says, oh, you shouldn't share. Or that's mine, mine, mine. I'm telling you right now, is you can look at it as a warning. But Allah is the creator and the destroyer of mankind. And you better figure out what you're doing and make sure your actions, especially if you are a Muslim, and you ought to know better than to mislead the people and say, well, this is how you prevent this. Do your worst, like I said, but you better be careful about challenging Allah Ta'ala. I'll tell you that.
So a sister asked the question too. She says, how do you respond as a woman who was willing to be in polygyny and other Muslim males and females try to convince you that you're nuts?
Consider the source of who's saying it, I think, too.
So
It wouldn't
how do
matter.
you,
They could be good people, bad people.
How
They
do
saying
you-
you're nuts.
If you know you're not nuts, you better
Yeah.
consider who's calling you.
well, it's just the same what we've been saying, just really being confident in your belief, confident in where it stands. I mean, I've had that. I've been told, I've been called all types of things. I'm an incoming wife, subsequent wife, whatever you want to call it, second wife, whatever you want to call it. So I was called all types of stuff.
Like what?
Like home wrecker, snake. Oh
That
my gosh, that thing. Not the real wife. Not the mama. No, I was called so many things, and it bothered me at first, just my nature of being a sensitive person, and bothering. But that wasn't my getting married. Period. And have nothing to do with other people and how they felt and what they felt about me. I have my own backstory. I have my own different things. I have my own things that I went through. And I also saw a beautiful family that I saw a great place for me in. So it after a while, when I was confident enough in that, it didn't matter to me of what other people said about me, because they didn't know me and they didn't know what I was doing and why. And I actually probably put a post out, or it's probably coming out later on today, one of the two. But it talked about, it was this morning. So if you guys go to Outstanding Personal Relationships, on our, Outstanding Relationships on our Instagram, on our IG
Or Facebook page.
It states that it talks about judging people. It talks about what may not be for you, may well be for somebody else. So check yourself when you're trying to judge people. I mean, I didn't say it like that, but seriously, check yourself when you're trying to judge people, because what may be okay for you may not be okay for them, and vice versa. And it is what it is. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with my marriage. I'm happy with my union. I'm happy with my relationship with my co-wife. And if anybody else is unhappy with it, that's something that they have to deal with. So what do you say to people who think they're nuts? You know what? Whatever you believe is what you believe. Whatever you think is what you think. What you think about me is none of my business, because I'm good with me. So and it's pretty much, it takes that time and it takes that confidence within yourself. And how do you get that confidence within yourself? You immerse yourself in personal development. You work on yourself. Always work on yourself more than you work on anything else, more than you work on your marriage, more than you work on your relationships with other people. Work on yourself first, because when you're true to yourself, the other stuff is not going to matter. Everything that's good is going to fall into place, and everything that people think is bad and that you may think is bad happens for a reason, and you're going to be clear with that it happened for a reason, and there was some wisdom behind it. Even if you don't know what it is, and you're confident enough that there's some wisdom behind it, and there's always good behind it.
Now, the funny thing as well is, tell them to kick rocks. Tell them to kick rocks.
Yeah,
this is why I say that. Is because we live in a society right now. If you're going really with what the mass of society is saying, then you're going to be misled. All right? Because I come from the time, again, we all born in the 70s, all right, all raised up and stuff in high school, developmental ages, infant stages in the 90s. Totally different time. So now, if you're publicly like, yo, being gay is immoral, this trans thing ain't it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This effeminate black man, this new toxic masculinity, and you want to push the Harriet movie, but you don't have a problem with these two fictional characters that are made up to demonize the black man that didn't exist, but you missing that message and seeing how strong she is, but not seeing how they're trying to destroy it on this side. Then we can't really vibe together. You're not getting married for everybody else's benefit. So your decision is for you and your family and your peace. Because guess what? People are going to continue talking. They're going to continue saying. And the other part is, as a Muslim, you're going to get the reward for that anyway. All right, so do you. Now, we're talking, and I know we're talking right now from a place of privilege, okay? Because we've been married 9 years now, so I'm practicing polygyny for 9 years. So, was it like this in year one? Will we could all just get down together? Hey, let's make a video talking about this. No.
She was like in year 2. Fatima then.
No.
she was.
Was it like that in year 3? No. So we can go on and on. Anyway, the thing is, it was a process. It was a learning process. We had to get over a learning curve, had to go over a bridge. There had to be growth. There had to be the desire to move forward. So it took time to really get there. So I know we're talking from a place of privilege. It's not that, oh, you'll get involved in polygyny and now the initial wife is going to be like, okay, cool, come on over. It may not be like that at first. You know what I'm saying? But again, as a man, you still have to paint the bigger picture for your family. You have to do what you need to do. You still have to stand and be willing to be uncomfortable in order for the comfort of your family and really building. So it takes that time and it takes growth. So you have to determine what's the most important for you, period. Yeah. And that's everybody. I have to determine what's most important for me. She has to determine for her. She has to determine for her. Because ultimately, we're all individuals. Right. And I'm married to her. I'm married to her. They're not married to each other, anything like that. But family-wise, we're all one unit. Okay? So it's moving in the direction that I want to paint, but I have to be that leader to be able to paint that vision, walk in there, being congruent where I am, be cognizant of what's going on, making sure my fatherhood is not, limiting or leaking in some areas and the boat is gaining water and everything else. So I need to make sure of that. So, when I say kick rocks, it's really to kick rocks. If it's a good man and he's willing to do what he's supposed to do and move forward, then latch onto that. Because guess what? More likely than not, their marriage is going to fail. Why? Because more than 50% of marriages fail. So you're already on, if you're a gambler, you more than 50% chance they're going to fail in their marriage. Okay? So focus on your marriage to work on the success of that or your potential marriage. So that's what I would say. Related to that. And by the way, I'm answering the questions right now from YouTube because we're streaming on 2 different things. We're streaming on YouTube right now from our channel, but also on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook wondering why I didn't ask you a question, because I had to go get the phone and check it, but I'm gonna do that in a second. Inshallah.
We're not ignoring y'all.
Other questions did come through, but if you want to add anything there, that's
I'm blind. I can't see.
As a non-Muslim single black man, what is the best approach to find a woman that's okay with polygyny for the right reasons of building family? Increase you co-queens, your king with ease and security. I mean, and thank you for sharing with the people. Oh my God, I caught y'all live. Yes, sis, she did. This is she represents Sister Matt, right? Destiny. Okay, bro. Listen, I don't know because I'm Muslim. I'm gonna be frank with you right there, okay? But I do know men that are non-Muslim that are practicing polygyny. The main thing is to be upfront. To be upfront and be direct, all right? Because there's many women that understand these numbers. Yeah. They understand whether it's being a single mother. They understand what people went through, all right? And if they have a man that they can respect, that's going to be truthful with them and not bring them home some STDs and all this other little stuff that's going on out there, then you will get a woman, a respectable woman who's more enlightened that actually can understand or can dig it or can get with it. So, obviously, I'm a Muslim, so Islam lays out a certain way for it to get done. And I would encourage studying, your identity, who you are, where you come from, and all of that, to really go deeper with it because the system of Islam is a whole nother level of the game. But as more women, they're non-Muslim women that have asked me if I'm open to marry non-Muslim. No, I'm not. That's me personally. I'm not. It's not going to happen. But, there are more women. Why? Because the lack of good quality men. So the other part is this. If you are a single black man, all right, become that single black man that is attractive. Right. The more strong, the more solid, the more versatile, and that you're able to be as a man, that's attractive, period.
Authentic.
All right. So yeah,
Right.
indeed. So that right there, you don't have to go out trying to find nothing because they'll come to you.
Indeed.
And as long as you're straightforward and you can voice it, you know what I'm saying, then you will attract those who know, and you're gonna keep those back away from you who aren't with it.
Yeah, I've told that to now.
You check Facebook.
I have sibling, uncle, whatever. They're not Muslim, and I've coached them and talked to them about doing that because I've grown up around so many guys, my cousins, everything like that, and they, you know, of course, they have the girlfriends and the, you know, multiple girlfriends, but they'll have people who they like both of them. But then they have this fear of hurting the other one's feelings or whatever. You got to understand that being dishonest, that's what hurts more than loving or liking somebody else. You know, it's the lack of communication. It's the hiding thing. It's that type of stuff. So the thing is, be authentic, be truthful, be honest. I told my uncle with two people who he was dealing with, I said, tell them both, if you want to be with both of them, tell both of them to say that. You know, I said, because when it comes down to it, you give them the choice. Yes. And they respect, a real woman will respect that. And it made me think of this episode on Blackish. I would love this. I love this episode on Blackish. So what happened? So
No, I got 3 questions.
Oh, 3 questions. Okay.
All right.
Where Junior, the son, he had his little girlfriend, and then it was a girl that he liked. I guess it was his sister's friend. And his girlfriend, they didn't, what was she called? She said, we're not going to put labels on our relationship. But he liked them both. And it was like, I guess, Valentine's Day or whatever the case may be. And he invited them both over because he was like, they both seemed cool. And he think that they would like each other. So he introduced them together as friends. And they were like each other's friends. I had to be clear, whatever. And he said, and they asked him about like, well, you invited me over for dinner with your girlfriend and this and that, whatever. He was like, well, I thought you guys would like each other, you know, as friends, you'd be cool and everything. And I like you both, and I wanted to spend time with both of you today. I mean, he was real. He went to the point with it. And it didn't go as planned as he, you know, thought, you know, it would go. But I was like, you know what? They should have, in my mind, I was like, should have went a totally different way where it was respected, because he didn't pretend like he was real honest with it. And I was like, dang,
and women appreciate it.
That's really, for him to be that young and he did that, you know what I mean? It could have been, you know, sometimes when you're young, you just don't think too hard on the stuff. Yeah. But I thought that was very wise. And I thought it was real, because it's respectable if you're being authentic and you're being honest. That's the thing. A lot of guys think that, oh, well, she's going to feel some type of way because I like this other girl, or she going to feel, it's these different things where you think that this is the reason why they're upset or hurt. Now, that could be an initial knee-jerk reaction to stuff, but that you can get over. You're like, okay, well, you know, it is what it is. You can get past that. It's the lying and the deceit and being conniving and and then to mask it as, well, I was doing it for you. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I was doing that type of thing. It's those things that is hard to come back from than to say, just to say, you know what? I like you both.
And people think it's so crazy for a man to love 2 women at the same time. I have 7 children, and I've looked at them in my life and loved them simultaneously. Like,
you know, people will say, it's not the same.
It's the same when people say stuff like, how can he love both of you at the same time?
Because your love don't diminish, you know, it don't disappear, or it, you know.
It is impossible for our husband's love for either one of us to diminish the other one's.
Yeah, because
That's impossible.
another one come in and say, okay, I don't love you as much as I used to love. It ain't got, like even when it comes to my kids, I'm like, it ain't about any other child coming around. If my love starts to diminish, it's how you acting.
Right.
It's how you behaving. It's how you
And I
act.
ain't gonna love you like I did last night.
My love has conditions.
And I think love is conditional because you really can't punch me in my face and I'm still like,
Oh yeah, I love you.
no, you gotta go. So there is condition with love, but for us, loving one doesn't
diminish. It
doesn't diminish or
it doesn't
negate the other one.
And I think being strong and confident in our place as women, as our place as wives, as a place, and it makes it where we don't have to feel like we have to compete with one another.
No,
It's not. We don't have to do that.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm so in tune with all three of us being so different from each other. Mm-hmm. But there's a respect that we have because we're in a polygynous marriage, yes, but we're still each other's brother and sisters in Islam.
Yeah.
So we have to. Sometimes I speak as wife and sometimes I speak as I'm a friend now. You being a little, rough with your homies or whatever it is. I don't know what it is that he did, but I'll look at it as, okay, I'm wife, or maybe this is just an advice I need to give Muslim to Muslim.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we do that for each other as well as co-wives. To jump into it.
All right, so we have some questions. And after these questions, we're going to wrap up, inshallah. Now, mind you, by the way, in case you don't know, if you go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM, which stands for Relationship Mastery, that's where we work with clients and work with students and go deeper and actually train a lot of different strategy and whatnot when it comes to polygyny. So here we wanted to just kind of address this thinking that you could just keep your Muslim man or you keep a man monogamous or something like that. We kind of address that because it was pretty weird. But we do have a few questions. Zahira has stated that people see bad situations in poly, so it gives poly a bad look. Mm-hmm. Now, my thing is this. That's very immature. And this is the reason why. If most marriages fail, do people just have most monogamous marriages fail, and they do. Do they just now say, okay, I'm not going to get married? Mm. Right. Or are we having a double standard when it comes to polygyny? Okay. Because polygyny is a form of marriage.
That's true.
Like I get it.
Okay, I get it in a way. But yes, I think sometimes when it does come to polygyny, it's an excuse. However, from experience, I was that person that saw marriages that I was like, oh, heck to the no, I'm not getting married. Yeah. I'm not getting married because if this is what marriage looks like, I can do bad by myself, but I can do a whole lot better too. And I'd rather do that. So, but then I started to see, some positive images and some people that had great marriages, at least from the outside looking in. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute now.
And that's it's usually not a polygyny thing. It's the way that individual practices polygyny.
Right.
Polygyny is not the issue.
Right.
It's the way the man in the middle or the women are like really. I've seen some women where the man doesn't know what to do with them. They do not get along, and it is horrible. It's horrible. Like there's no trying in it with the women. But it's not a polygyny thing at all. Don't mistake it. It is how those particular people practice polygyny.
Right. And you're not those people.
Way.
Right. You're not those people.
And we're not those people.
Now, the next question, Jasmine said, do you have any advice for a potential second wife whose the initial wife is not willing to accept her at the time?
Who is that? That could go either way, I guess.
I'll let you talk about it.
Advice for potential second wife whose first wife is not willing to accept her.
For the potential. Okay.
Well, I have a question then for that. Is there some history, like some bad blood, or is it just we don't want to? They don't want to for the sake of.
Well, here, listen.
Not wanting to.
Except this is advice for potential second wife whose the initial wife is not willing to accept her, which is the norm more often than not. Okay, so as the initial wife, she wasn't just welcoming and all that kind of stuff to Coach Nyla, for example. Okay, that's kind of what she's talking about. So, what is some advice we could probably offer the sister in that regard?
I would say that, well, what I did is I tried to get to know my co-wife on a personal level as an individual versus getting to know her as Nadir's subsequent wife, if that makes sense. I wanted to really get to know who she is as a mom, who she is as a daughter, who she is as an older sister and the oldest of many and things like that. What does she like to do? What does she like to eat? Like I tried to take him out of it. So when we initially spoke, I said, I want to talk, but I don't want the subject of conversation to be about Nadir, because then we're not getting to know each other as people, as women. We don't want to just keep it focused on polygyny and we got to share him. And I don't like that you're here. I wanted to start it off and go, okay, let's keep it positive. Who are you? Like, who are you as a human being? And it's a very deep thing to go into because I think initial wives want to keep it on polygyny and keep it on my man and you married him and da da da. I think if you remove that and allow yourself to have a genuine conversation about two women and who are we, then you can start from there. That's like a springboard.
I'm gonna comment here too. Go ahead.
As a subsequent wife, couple of things. She don't have to like you. Yeah, you will like that. You will want to have a good relationship and things like that. But focus on you as a person. If you want to build a relationship, reach out. Let it be known. Be authentic with it, but don't push. Don't pressure.
Don't expect anything.
Don't expect anything in return, and don't take it personal. It's real easy to say that, but it's a lot of times it's not about you. It's not you. When it gets to the point where if she's not accepting of you, that's something that you have to possibly give some time. It may happen, it may never happen, but your marriage is not a marriage to her. Your marriage is a marriage to the husband, the man that you share. You work on that relationship, you work on that marriage, you build that. In addition, like I said, you can reach out to her, you can do certain things, you can let her know that you want to develop a relationship, but if she's not welcoming to you, don't force the issue. Don't take it personal. Just forever. Focus on.
Just focus took me on, forever. I'll speak about me. She always talk to me, but
Right. You know what I'm saying? So like listen, this is what I'm gonna say. You married to him. All right. Well, you will potentially be married to him. All right. So that's what you focus on your marriage. All right. No marriage. I mean, marriage can get divorced. It can get in all kind of number of different ways. So if you focus on your marriage with him, that's what matters most. All right. You can reach out, you can try other stuff, but be patient, reach out to him, but also keep this in mind for the first wives or incoming, the initial wives. You also got to remember, he chose you too.
Right.
You think he really gonna choose a second wife that's not compatible for the fam?
Right.
Like, what's wrong? What caused him to change that much in his decision? So he probably picked somebody good if you give her a chance. But I'm just saying it. All right, I'm just letting you know. Now, another question.
Some don't,
Sister Fauzia says she's in Bahrain. That's where she's from. Said polygyny is pretty common, but it's painful usually for the wives of their children, especially sometimes they hate each other, and those are the ones that are hurting. That's her comment there. And then there is Matt. I was gonna come to your question now, sis, and you had to delete it. You had to retract it. It was there. I'm like, I was going to you last. Call us live. Don't be deleting. Anyway, Jaida Cato, and this is just, I think it's Jaida Cato, one of our African brothers and sisters. We got to have a nice following our brothers and sisters back home.
Thank you for love, y'all.
West Africa, Northern Africa, and the Maghreb. But he said where he's from, women have it, they hate it. It's hard. They fight to the blood to protect their men from practicing polygyny. So that's sad. It's really sad because he's likely from a Muslim area anyway. That's ridiculous. And it happens. It really does. But it goes into our societal conditioning, because a couple hundred years ago when we having a situation. So we get very comfortable when we start thinking that people belong to us. Yeah. All right. We are not their creators. We're not going to be raised with them, thinking about them. None of that. We have enough to do with our own souls.
If they belong to you, and I'm really speaking to the wives, if our husbands belong to us and they want to take another wife, then if they belong to us, if they want to marry another wife, we could stop them. How come we can't stop them? Because they're not our creation. So we have to really check our ego at the door, and we have to go, this person does not belong to their mother or their father. They can't make them do anything or not do anything. They can request, but they can't stop them. So we have to think about what kind of control are we trying to administer over somebody in their life. Because I've thought about this any kind of way an initial wife can think about it. And I've come to the conclusion that you are not going to stop it. You can disagree with it. You may not like it, but you must respect polygyny. I never have ever, nor will I ever say side wife, side piece, baby mama, whatever kind of disrespectful terminology you can come up with. I've always said wife. And I think we need to open up dialogue, say the word wife, because that is what the position is. And I think our communities need to become more supportive of the men and the women in them, that especially I'm speaking to Muslims that practice polygyny. You can fight it all you want, but it is something that the Creator put in place. And Islam is here to liberate the people, not to oppress the people, especially the women. Islam takes very good care of the women. And people will disagree and say, no, it doesn't, because these are not your laws. What did Jim Rohn say? When you get your own universe, you can change this whole deal. Right. Now, you're not going to get your own universe. But I'll tell you, the one that we live in, this is something that Allah allows. And I know the initial wife wants to, maybe the second wife, because there's third and fourth wives. So their position is extremely important. I feel like my co-wife's position is just as important as mine. So even when we say second wife, third wife, fourth, we're all wives. We're all wives. We all have the same platform. We all have the position of wife, and we need to start saying that, speaking it from our mouths, and giving it the respect that it deserves.
Indeed. So Mad had a question. I know she retracted it, but from what I can remember of the question, it says she's curious, is this our first time trying to practice polygyny? Because she was getting possibly a little discouraged with the availability. So yes, it is the first time.
Yep.
I've been married twice, divorced 0 times. Personally,
2-0.
I'm 2-0.
Yeah.
She 1-0.
I am. What is it? 2-1? How you got it? I don't know how you even do that. Whatever. 1-1, whatever the heck. I'm divorced.
There you go.
1-1. So yeah.
And that's okay, because I think that's another thing that's
Whatever.
Again, it's not, here's the thing. It may take you some time, all right, because it may take you some time because it's worth it. That's the point. Anything that's worth anything that actually has value is worth. And it takes time. It takes effort. Anything that come easy, go easy. All right. So, and you only have to be right once if you're a woman. You know, as a man, you might have to be right more than that. But as a woman, if you find a good husband and, you know, whether it work out or not, but there may be some good years or something there. So the thing is, you work on yourself, you be good, and you will attract that energy. You will attract what you are looking for prayerfully. Usually you do once you put it out there, but it may take some time. It ain't got to be quick. You know what I'm saying? There are plenty of people, you know, that are available. You just ain't come across the right person, or maybe not in the right area, or networking or whatnot. And then we have like 2 things. These are relatively quick. Yeah, I see you retracting the smiley face. You didn't put it back, but it's all good, sis. Hopefully we answered that for you, Queen. Is it practical to want a family under one roof? No. Do you recommend getting into? It depends how big the roof is. You know, you got 10,000 square feet, maybe in a wing, maybe. But if you don't have that, I would say no. Okay, I have not had them under one roof other than traveling under one roof, and even then, still ain't it's practical as you won't like it to be. But no, I haven't seen those situations work out for the better. And women and queens want their own layer and their own stuff, and they should have it. In my opinion, that tends to work better.
In my opinion,
okay. So, do you recommend getting into a polygynous relationship 2 wives prior to having any children with the first wife? I don't know. Polygyny wise, it really depends on you. I mean, there are so many different variables, whether you under the same roof, whether you visit one per week and you want one for a week, another one for a week, another for you, whatever. Yeah. You know, there's so many different variables. It depends on you and your circumstances and what you want for goals and your family. All right. But the main thing is just to put it out there what your goals are. If you know up front, I didn't know. I mean, I got married. I was 19 when we first got married. I didn't know much about polygyny, just was learning really about Islam in my life. So I didn't plan to marry something. I remember, I did mention, remember I mentioned that one time. Now I remember something when I was younger and I was newly married. Remember the sister.
Don't embarrass me.
No. But I was like, shoot, if I was older, I would marry her. You know what I'm saying? I said this because, it was an older sister. Remember the sister?
I remember her. I'm triggered.
So I was like, really good sister. The sister actually put us on correct Islam. They really introduced us, started teaching about Tawheed, started learning properly and stuff like that because we were still in the struggle. And I was like, well, if I was older, I would marry the sister.
He didn't lost his ever-loving
good sister,
mind.
but she was younger than we are now. But back then, as old, when you're younger. So I was like, I'll marry her.
And he said it where I could hear it. That's
crazy. I was talking to her.
Like, you nuts.
So
just got married.
But I didn't know about polygyny. I just knew that it was something that was there. But, I was under the impression based on false information that one is best you but knew, which is an absolute lie on Allah Ta'ala and it's not anywhere in the Quran. One is best if you can't be fair. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up. We've been an hour now. I appreciate all of you. And if you listen, we're streaming from Facebook. We stream from Facebook and stream from YouTube right now. And we're about to wrap it up as you hearing. I don't know if you heard it's time for Salatul Asr. But go to our website, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Get on the email list, start getting notifications when we go live. If you're looking for something a little deeper that goes into more strategy and more detail, then you probably want to go ahead and join our inner circle where we deal with relationship mastery. That one of our courses at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM. And that's where we get more detail kind of with you on a one-on-one basis. Those live casts are not broadcast on our social media channels because it goes deeper and it's different for those who are curious and those who are really serious. So again, we appreciate you being with us and we enjoy sharing with you.
Thank you. And those who stay for the whole thing, oh my gosh, you guys are
Thanks
awesome.
for the love.
All you guys are awesome. Thanks for the questions, the comments.
And the awesome blessings stuff. And the salams.
Yes, plenty of salams. Alhamdulillah. All right, salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, we out. I'm going to shut this down. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll be back on the social media channels next week or sometime this week. If you don't know, just to let you know, our Facebook, you can find us Outstanding Personal Relationships. On YouTube, Outstanding Personal Relationships. That's our channel. On Instagram, it's Outstanding Relationships. However, the best thing is outstandingpersonalrelationships.com is where you'll find us, connect with us. We appreciate you, appreciate all the love. And again,
y'all.
We out. Just remember to be outstanding in relationships because why be average? Average nothing but the top of the bottom or the bottom of the top.
Oh my God.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Peace, y'all. That was so fun.
They are so awesome. Yeah, just because they're just so
Coming
awesome.
in, the questions.
The engagement is so amazing. It's really, really.
I was shook.
It's just so amazing. Like just the feeling of